the past 5 years, I've completely preached alone time. I have falsely demonized everyone. Here's what I learned from being hurt and then spending a lot of time alone. I sat down to make this video to make a claim that we have loneliness all wrong, and that this idea of the loneliness chapter that I get into is twisted. I actually don't think that's the conclusion I came to. This video is honestly just dedicated to any young person who feels confused because they don't feel like they've found their people, or they don't feel like they understand themselves, or they feel hurt by people around them and they're lost, because that's been me. And it's tough. Okay, so I still haven't really cracked the code, but I think it's kind of cool that I just sat down to talk to myself about this for 30 minutes and I made some sense of what I've learned. So enjoy. And this is not a dish on Chris Williamson. I love him. So, progress over perfection. Let's set up my high-tech sound system here. Hey, let's talk about happiness. And let's talk about what it means to actually be pursuing happiness. Because I think this can get really twisted nowadays. Like, a lot of the media and content we consume is super anti-baseline things that make human beings happy. I've been a victim of this. You've probably all been a victim of this. But a narrative that the media is really wanting to push to us right now is to like lock into this loneliness hour, loneliness phase. Like, what's the term Chris Williamson used?
Lonely chapter.
The lonely chapter. In order for you to reach your goals, in order for you to get to where you need to be, you need to cut the people in your life off, and you need to be on your own and lock in and work on yourself.
So everybody that has got from a place where they don't want to be to one where they are, there's a point where they're so different that they can't resonate with their old set of friends, but they're not yet sufficiently developed that they've created their new set of friends.
And we forget the fact that our relationships and our communities and our bonds with others are what make us human and are what make us feel connected and better understand the world around us, and actually are powering us towards getting towards our goals and towards making us a better version of ourselves. Basically, my senior year of high school, I had 2 friend groups. I was lucky enough to have 2 friend groups because I switched schools halfway through high school. But I still lived in my old town. So I was hanging out with both of my friend groups all the time. And I had a falling out with both of them at the same time. I ended up spending a huge chunk of time my senior year alone. A little Saturday night with me, myself, and I. Fucking shocker. And it was genuinely the first time in my life in which I was choosing to spend time alone over time with others consistently, all day, every day.
You know what? I'm so fucking proud of myself. And I'm doing my best. And I'm only learning from all of this. None of this is happening without reason. All of this has some underlying reason. And I know the universe is looking out for me. And I'm so grateful for everything in my life, even the bad things.
Growing up, I was always a social butterfly, like always just wanted to be hanging out with as many people as possible, talking and chatting with everyone, just such a big extrovert. And then when I was really hurt by these people senior year, I guess you could say it kind of set me off on a journey of self-understanding. Spending a lot of my time going on long walks, journaling, reading, going on solo dates, just spending a lot of time with myself, going on drives. I basically was like, fuck this. This is my moment to work on myself, and yeah, just focus on me, work on myself. So I worked on my physical health, I worked on my mental health. One thing I will preach till I die is it's really, really important for us to get to know ourselves. Like, you are a person that you need to get to know. I always say knowing yourself is one of the biggest gifts you can give to yourself. Because when you can look at your inner world objectively, you can better understand the motivations behind the habits, behaviors, inclinations that aren't serving you. Or even maybe you haven't even gotten that far. Maybe you can just even notice whether or not you have certain habits and behaviors that aren't serving you, that are going unnoticed or are just automatic. And I spent a lot of time reading self-help books and listening to podcasts and just trying to better understand my psyche. I think it was what I needed at the time. What I falsely did learn from this situation, though, was that I was convinced that time alone was now the solution to everything. So anytime that I faced any sort of mental health struggle or was going through a rough patch in life for the next 3 years, which were my first 3 years of college, I would just isolate myself. And I was like, yep, this is it. This is the solution to everything. And now looking back on it, it's just hilarious because it's like, I was the one fucking my life up, low-key. Not like fucking my life up, that's really dramatic, but it's like, I described in my first episode of this series how I've realized down the line that Vanderbilt isn't really like the school for me. It just doesn't match my personality, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way it is. I had a really hard time here, quite literally up until currently. And what I did that made it so much worse was that instead of going out of my way to change the narrative and find niche communities on campus that did align with who I am and what I want to do, and go do things that made life feel fun and interesting and me, I would just revert to the only real safe space I knew on campus, which was my mind. But we are going through a loneliness crisis right now as a nation, as a society. No, but genuinely, we're all fucking lonely, and no one is talking about it in the right way, in my opinion. Like, a lot of people are preaching that there's a male loneliness crisis and that COVID fucked us up and that we are less connected than we've ever been. I don't even think enough people are talking about that. But we're not even posing any solutions. Everyone's just talking about how Gen Z is lonely. And I feel like it's millennials and Gen X talking about how Gen Z is lonely and being like, oh my God, look at our kids. They're so lonely. What are we going to do? Kids, I guess we're in our 20s now. What the fuck? But like, look at the young people. They're so lonely. And they're just kind of ending the sentence there. You guys, we all need to start hanging out with each other. We just need to be talking to each other more. And we all need to take a fucking chill pill with the self-help loneliness chapter. Bullshit. Listen, there is a time and a place for time with yourself. And it's actually crazy that I'm coming on here right now and saying this and talking about this because my entire life, well, not my entire life, the past 5 years, I've completely preached alone time and said, like, I can't be friends with people who haven't grown on their own. I can't date people who haven't grown on their own. The best people in my life have spent time on their own getting to know themselves. I still stick by all of those statements. This needs to be coupled with an everyday effort to maintain and develop your relationships with others. I think a lot of the time social media can give us a false sense of connection with the world because we're consuming so much content about others on our phones and kind of doing a fake version of what socialization is when really it's just us looking at a device. Imagine you watch videos of a person working out and then you're like, yeah, I'm fit. That's not how that works. We need people like we need food, like we need water. It's built into us. Before we had civilization and society in the way we do right now, we traveled with a pack. And if you weren't part of the pack, you would die. So feeling connected with others and feeling a part of a community and feeling like we have healthy relationships is vital for our well-being because it's built into our biology that way. Humans are so scared of dying alone for a reason. It's quite literally a threat to us. They did a study a while back on a bunch of like guys from Harvard who all had a lot going for them. And it was like a super, super, super long study. This study was essentially to find out what makes people happy. You can take all of these men who are in college, who are all at relatively the same stage of life, relatively similar level of happiness, relatively similar success, and understand the different elements that come into play when they have varying degrees of happiness post-grad as their life goes on. Essentially, what the study found was simply that the happiest subjects weren't those who had the most money or the most career success or had the most experience or adventure. It was the people with the strongest relationships. And it sounds so obvious when you say it out loud, but I just feel like I've just been a victim to this. And that's why I want to talk about it, because I've spent so much time feeling like I'm not doing the right thing because I don't seem happy enough. And I'm working out all the time and I'm applying for jobs and I'm working hard at school and I'm upkeeping my hobbies. And it's like, why the fuck am I not a happy person? By all the standards of social media, I should be super successful. All of my hours are filled. I am constantly working towards something. What's happening? Why am I not happy? Bitch, because in between all of that, when are you spending time with people? It's such a base level thing. And I think about all the times in my life when I've been the happiest, and it's the times where I'm just so ridiculously social. And what's even funnier is I've tried to convince myself ever since I had that moment in high school that I am an introvert. Me. Like, I love talking to people. When I was a child, all I wanted to do was just talk to people. And I think I was hurt a while ago and I ended up spending time alone. And I think I actually got to a place where the only person I trusted was me. And imagine going about the world where you just literally don't trust anyone around you. Like, think of how that would be in caveman era, okay? Like, imagine you're like a cunty caveman, cunty cavewoman, and you're like meant to be with the tribe, whatever, but you're literally not trusting any of them. And so the vibes are really off because you're meant to be like, you know, doing the whole nomad lifestyle with them and going around and relying on them for food, relying on them for warmth and fire and all of this. And you're not trusting any of them. They're going to catch a weird vibe. You're not going to be wanting to like really invest yourself into the group. And you're going to be cast out. Or you're just going to like somehow end up killing yourself in the end because your life is dependent on your relationship with the group and your trust with them. I have falsely demonized everyone. And I've set a standard for perfectionism for everyone in my life. And I think this is a reflection of the pressure I put on myself. I'm a perfectionist with myself. Relationships are like a mirror, right? And the ways we interact with others are a direct reflection of how we feel about ourselves. I'm really hard on myself when I mess up. And so I think in some twisted way, in my life, I've been like, I'm not allowed to mess up, so neither are you. I don't know, me personally, I don't want to be friends with anyone who's holding a standard of perfection for me. Holy shit, that's exhausting. And so it's like, combine these factors, combine me thinking that spending time alone is the solution to all my problems, not trusting anyone because I'm like scarred from high school, and upholding a standard of perfection for everyone in my life. Of course I was depressed. We are all on this earth to be with each other. And like, I just feel like I need to grab the internet by the shoulders and like shake it and remind everyone that like we're here because we're meant to be with each other. And if you have like a super, super, super clear goal and you're like, I physically am incapable of satisfaction without having this goal completed, and the goal is only completed if you inevitably spend a considerably long amount of time alone. I get it, but here's my caveat. Here's my caveat. The same way that we are more productive when we make time for working out, we're more productive when we make sure we eat healthy, we're more productive when we get adequate sleep. You want to throw some capitalism bullshit sprinkles on this? Fine. We're more productive when we're social and have strong relationships. If you need relationships like you need food, water, exercise, and sleep, holy fuck, it's laughable how simple the solution was this whole time. This whole time. I just needed to take a step back, chill the fuck out, and hang out with people. And listen, is no relationship at all better than a negative relationship with another person? Better than a relationship that leaves you feeling worse than you entered when you go hang out with them? Yes. Yes. If you must spend time alone before you find your people, do that always. That's a huge aspect of it for me. I think I have a really, really clear understanding now of the type of people I get along with best. And that unfortunately takes trial and error. I cannot be friends with small-minded people. I can't be friends with the type of people who bring people down for their looks. I can't be friends with people who are uncurious and unmotivated. I can't be friends with people who are unforgiving of others. I can't be friends with people who are just generally pessimistic. But on the flip side of things, I immediately connect with someone if they're well-traveled. I immediately connect with someone if they are close with their family. I immediately connect with someone if they have empathy for others and they try to see others as a whole and not just as one category or type of human being. Oh, she's a bitch. Oh, he's weird. Oh, she's this. Oh, she's that. People who can see others holistically. I immediately connect with people who can have a sense of humor about things. And I cannot fucking stand people who are passive aggressive. But I know that. And so it's like, I think the solution is spend the time with yourself to get to know yourself enough that you can parent yourself and upkeep yourself in order to be the strongest type of person to be someone's friend, to be someone's partner, to be your own boss, to be the person who leads you towards getting towards all your goals. And then once you know yourself, you're going to know the characteristics in yourself that you value the most and that you're working on the most. Those are essentially going to be the same things you're looking for in your friends. Because as I just mentioned before, relationships are mirrored. You want a hack for finding people in your life you love? Find the people who represent all of your favorite things about yourself. Find the people who bring out the best in you and who you bring out the best in. And find the people who maybe correct the things that you're working on, who challenge you, who kind of like fill in your gaps. When you find them, which by the way requires putting yourself out there, when you find them, hold on to them and maintain those relationships like it's a plant that you're watering every day. There's no right way to balance spending time alone and spending time with others. It's what makes the most sense for you. And I think we have different times in our life that require more of one or the other. You can't be spending time with the right people until you get to know yourself and that requires spending time alone. But you can't overdo it because, as I said, we need people like we need water. Being forced to spend a bunch of time alone my senior year of high school was one of the biggest blessings I've ever had. I've never had anything teach me more about myself. All right, that's it for now. Love you.